show you how you do slabbing and then how you can create a pot from your clay slabs. So the first thing that you're going to need is some clay. I've got some air drying clay. Now I've not got a kiln, but if you were to use a kiln, you would need to make sure that all the air pockets and air bubbles are out of this, because otherwise at the very high temperatures inside the kiln, the air will expand and that can cause your pot to crack or even explode in the kiln. So just to show you that technique, you literally just use a bit of anger management here. You just throw it at the table for a bit until there are no cracks in it. Very therapeutic. Okay, so once you've done that for a bit, you are then going to just flatten it out a bit with your hands and always peel it off just so it's not going to get stuck to the surface that you're working on. And then I am going to get some more equipment, a rolling pin and these two wooden slats. So the reason why we're using these slats is because they are both an equal thickness. So when I place them down onto the table, when I use my rolling pin, this clay is going to remain at an even thickness all the way through. So I'm just going to roll it. And again, like I say, just very gently peel it up every now and again. You might want to rotate it, just so it doesn't get stuck. Clay is very sticky, it's very tacky because it's got a lot of moisture in it, so it's a good idea to just keep moving, otherwise your work will get destroyed, which is a shame. Okay, so the next step is we're going to use this slab. I've got a beautiful clay slab now, it's an even thickness. We're going to use this to create something like a slab pot. So here I've got a lovely, very simple little slab pot. And you can see the slabs are all an even thickness, and it's just a very, very simple design. But we can, when we get a little bit more advanced, we can start to make it a little bit more complicated. Maybe you want to add extra slabs to your slab pot to add a bit of texture and a bit of detail. You could even make it even more 3D by adding something a little bit like this. Simple on the back, but detail on the front. I feel like this one's a little bit Art Deco actually. You can also create different shapes of slabs. And different shapes of bases, so that you have, really interesting, intricate and unique slabs. So I'm going to start off by making one like the first, just to show you, but then you can experiment and create anything that you want. So I'm going to get a clay moulding tool. Now this one's shaped like a knife because I'm going to use it to cut. So I'm just going to very simply cut out some little straight lines. Now you might want to use a ruler for this, or maybe even one of these. Mine's going to be a little bit uneven because I'm doing it quickly. And we can take this off. We've got our slab. So that's going to be my base. And then I'm going to make some more sides for it. So what might be a good idea is if you create a little template so that all of them are the same size. But you know what? I'm going to be a bit of a cheat. I'm going to use this as my template. You might need to cut out some more slabs, or to roll out some more slabs. So now I've got my clay slabs, and they're all exactly the same size. but yours don't actually have to be exactly the same size. You can sort of change it up a little bit, and you know, experiment with the sizes of the slab and the shapes of the slabs. So when we are creating a joint between two pieces of clay, we need to have some new pieces of material or new materials. So again, I've got my clay moulding tool and I'm going to use the knife one, but we've also got some slip here. So slip is kind of like a mixture of water and clay and a little bit of glue as well. And this works as our clay glue or our binding agent. So what we do is we are going to think about where our joints are going to go. So I think I want this to be joined like this. So I'm going to make some little cross-hatched marks. You can be as rough as you like with this because you can always smooth off the clay afterwards on those areas which are going to be attached to one another. What this does is it increases the surface area for the binding to happen, and it's going to make that joint a bit stronger and that bond. So I'm going to get some clay slip. I'm just going to paint it on quite generously, and then I'm going to push these two pieces of clay together. You can use your fingers to push them together as well. You can see a little bit of that slip comes out, and it actually makes it quite easy for you to smooth that edge. So now I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to do it on this side, and then I've realised that I'm probably going to need to change the sizes of these. Actually, that works out quite well. That was lucky. That was just a coincidence that they fit perfectly. Right, so now I've got my two sides attached. Now it's very wobbly because it's still wet, so you've got to be really gentle with it at this point. And I'm going to try and attach these two sides. I'll just rotate it so you can see. I'm going to try and attach these two sides to these sides. Now you can see it's not perfect, so I might need to trim things down a little bit later. And I think it's just a coincidence that it fits that way. So again, I might need to, it might have gone out a little bit, it might be too big, so I'd need to cut that bit off as well. So I'm going to do the same as I did before because I know I've got some joints to create. So now I'm going to score all the way around here. You're just making a rough edge basically for those parts of the clay to bond. And I think it's going to go around here and around here. So it's going to be attached to three sides of this. And then I'm just going to paint that on. Both sides, and then I'm going to take this bit and I'm going to push it onto here, and I'm going to pull the clay with using my fingers. Your fingers are your best tools actually with clay. You spend loads of money on tools, but when you use your fingers, you've just got that, you can feel what you're doing a bit better. And again, I'm going to try very carefully to lift this up. And I'm going to do the same on this side. So you just want to make sure that all of those bonds are attached. And it would be better if this clay was a little bit harder. So sometimes you need to leave your clay out for a little bit. So in between the slabbing bit, I'd probably leave it for a few hours just to go a little bit more solid, because you can see it's going a little bit floppy at the moment. Which is not ideal. It makes it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. So once you've done your slabbing, before you actually make the slab pot, then leave it to dry so it's a bit more, a bit less floppy. This is too floppy. You don't want it to do that really. Okay, and so I'm going to attach the last piece, and then we'll end up with something that looks like that. But like I say, experiment with the other slabs to get different designs and different details onto your slab pot. Have fun!
If you've made it all the way to the end of my video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, comment below and subscribe to my channel for more. See you next time.